And Jesus said, "From Adam to John the Baptist, among those born of women, no one is greater than John the Baptist, so that his eyes should not be averted. But I have said, whoever among you becomes a child will know the kingdom, and he will become greater than John." The Gospel of Thomas, saying 46. Friends, I'd like to tell you a brief story based on these words from Jesus Christ. Willow Creek was the kind of place most folks drove through without noticing. A single stoplight blinked in the middle of town, and the water tower painted with the words, "Home of the Willow Creek Wildcats," rose above the fields like a watchman. It was a town where Friday night football was still king, where the church bells on Main Street marked time more faithfully than the clock on City Hall, and where the diner's chalkboard menu hadn't changed in years. But tucked into this quiet town was a boy named Samuel, though everyone referred to him as Sammy. He was 8 years old, with a smile that came easy and a pair of hand-me-down shoes that had seen better days. His freckles dotted his face like a constellation, and his hair was always just a little too long, falling into his curious eyes. Sammy didn't have the gadgets and toys other kids had. His family lived modestly on the edge of town. His mother waitressed at the diner, and his father worked long shifts at the mill. Yet, despite what he lacked, Sammy carried something rare, an unshakable joy, a sense of wonder about the world, and a natural kindness that softened even the hardest days. That summer, the whole town gathered at Willow Creek Park for the 4th of July picnic. The smell of charcoal grills drifted through the air. Kids waved sparklers as the sun dipped low, and adults clustered in folding chairs, swapping stories about bills, politics, and the aches and pains of getting older. Sammy, instead of lingering by the food tables or begging quarters for the soda machine, spotted a group of children scattered and restless. Some argued over who got to use the swings. Others sat by themselves, shy and unnoticed. Sammy jogged over, clapping his hands together. "Hey, let's do something different," he said, his eyes bright. "Let's pretend we're already in heaven. No fighting, no leaving anyone out. Everyone belongs. Everyone is important." The kids stared for a moment, then, one by one, they joined in. Sammy organized games where everyone had a turn. He handed out his own hot dog bun to a younger boy who didn't get food before the tray emptied. He pulled Emma, the quiet girl who always sat apart, into the circle and made sure she laughed with the others. For that one golden hour, as the fireflies began to flicker in the tall grass, the children created something the adults had forgotten. A simple glimpse of the kingdom of God. Now, Pastor James, walking past with a plate of baked beans, stopped when he saw what was happening. The children weren't fighting. They weren't leaving anyone behind. They were sharing, laughing, and lifting each other up. And at the center of it all was little Sammy, not trying to lead and not trying to be noticed, but simply being himself, a child with an open heart. The pastor's eyes filled with tears. He remembered the words of Jesus. Whoever among you becomes a child will know the kingdom, and he will become greater than John. And in that moment, it struck him. Sammy, barefoot in the grass, with no riches, no power, and no status, was closer to heaven than all the well-read adults with their careful plans and worries. In his innocence, in his joy, in his unguarded love for others, Sammy was living the very greatness Jesus spoke of. Now, when the fireworks cracked open the night sky, the town oohed and awed as usual. But afterwards, it wasn't the fireworks people kept talking about. It was Sammy. The children went home telling their parents how fun it was to play without fighting. Emma's mother cried when she heard how her daughter had been included for the first time all summer. The adults, those same men and women who had been weighed down by worry, couldn't shake the image. A freckle-faced boy had reminded them what heaven looked like when seen through the eyes of a child. My friends, in a world that grows heavy with arguments, comparisons, and pride, the kingdom is revealed not in power, but in childlike wonder. True greatness is not in achievements or recognition, but in humility, kindness, and the freedom to live with a heart wide open, just like Sammy. I love that story. God bless you, my friends.